Good evening. My name is Linda Woods, and I'm the mother of Erick Jamel Hendricks, aka Mustafa Abu Mariam, meaning the father of Miriam. That is my granddaughter that he had by a young lady named Shazia from Pakistan. She is now about 15 years old, soon to be. I think she just had a birthday. Beautiful young lady. But I just wanted to go from childhood, birth to adulthood, telling you about Erick. He was born in September of 1980. That year was a record hot year for Arkansas. It was like 40 some days of over 100 degrees. And all I could do was stay in the house under the air conditioning and if I had to go out, I had to hurry up and get from the car to a house with some air. It was a miserable year. And when he was born, he weighed 8 pounds and some ounces. And he had a big head. They say when you have a big head, you have a lot of knowledge. Matter of fact, forceps had to be used to pull him out. And those marks stayed on his head for about 2 to 3 weeks. And I noticed Erick being very different from my other two sons. It was an age difference of like, I think Tyrone was about 8 years older than Erick. When I started noticing how different he was, is when he was about 8 months old. And I lived in a home where it had stairs. That boy would climb up those stairs and back, crawl up, not climb up, crawl up and back. And I wouldn't say nothing because I felt like if I stopped him, he would probably hurt himself. So he went up there safely and come back down. And at the time, I was doing different jobs, and he was with me most of the time for at least till he was about 2 years old. And he was very adventurous. When he was a kid, he would, soon as I think about him all the time when I get on the elevator. Soon as the elevator would open up, shoom, he'd be gone. My grandmother told me, you better put a leash on that boy. And so I did. And he would go, when we'd be in the store, I'd be looking for him. He'd be up under the clothes rack. He wanted to see what was going on and how things worked. He was a young boy, and we were driving down the freeway one day. He said, Mama, he said, look at that car. It's a billfold on the back of that bumper, on that bumper. And I said, ooh, it sure is. I never would have seen that billfold on that bumper. But he was very observant, very wanted to know how things worked. And he was also raised in the 90s, and very adventurous then. Go back. I want to go back to my grandmother. She was an entrepreneur. I was raised by her, and her and my grandfather, Eddie and Willie Current. She had a store. It started on the front porch, and finally she had a building. My grandfather worked for the Pine Bluff Arsenal. He was a supervisor there for years. He retired from there, and then he took on another job as a supervisor, maintenance down there. My grandmother, before then, probably before I was born, is when I guess it was World War. I guess it might have been, I don't know which war it was, Korean War, World War II. She said they had to make bombs, and they were on a similar line. Pamela Arsenal that had have a lot of artillery down there. But anyway, she started a store to feed her children, and not only did she feed her kids, she fed everybody in the neighborhood. Uh, you didn't have to steal from her because she would give it to you. And they taught us. My grandparents taught us, me and my cousin Ricky, to be proud people and to have your own and to be independent. I was in the military. I went to the military when I was 26, and Erick was he was probably about 2 years old, a year and a half, 2 years old, and we went to Germany, and he probably don't remember much of that. I was over there for like 3 to 4 years. I was a medic, and he so he's been all over the place, and and that's the way he is right now. When he was 17, he went to New York, drove to New York, and I didn't even believe it. But he put a homeless person on the phone and said, "Yes, we are in New York." I begged him, please come home. So he did. As I said, he was a very adventurous. He went to C-Step, which was boot camp, when he was 16. Got his GED, and after he did that, he ventured out into the Muslim world. Before then, he was 16 years old, having fun with his friends, and got his neck broke. He wore a halo for about 4 months, and he he got tired of the halo. He told the doctor to take this thing off. He went to the doctor himself, tell him take it off and do whatever you need to do to get me out of it. So he had to have surgery. And then as an adult, he ventured out into adulthood, and he ventured out into the Muslim world. And I said, well, I'm a Christian, but whatever that would keep him safe, it's okay with me. And so that is how he got into the Muslim, and I got to be a Muslim, and he changed his whole life around. He got into college. He was a mentor for young people in the mosque that he belonged to, and he was prayed 5 times a day. I used to tell people all the time, whatever he doing and make him pray 5 times a day and keep him safe, I'm all for it. And so I never was against it. I would tell him all the time when he would call me on holidays. If he didn't call me on holiday, I say, I don't care he said, Mama, every day is a holiday. And I tell him, you got a black mama, and I want you to call me on my birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever day. He always laughed and say, okay, Mama. But he has been a joy to me all of his life. And that is why I know that my child, Erick Jamel Hendricks, is a very independent young man and patriotic, and would never do what they have accused him of doing. That's my story, and I stand by it, and I approve this message. Thank you, and have a blessed evening.